Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Parks and Rec Commission to order. Our first order of business is to welcome our new members. We have Nick and Dongling, and I would like to give you a chance to introduce yourselves, tell a little bit about maybe how long you've been in North Liberty and why you chose to apply to be on the Park Commission.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Donglin Chai. Me and my husband moved to North Liberty 2-3 years ago-ish, and now we have a almost 2-year-old daughter. The reason I'm a stay-at-home mom, and the biggest reason is I would like to hopefully contribute to the parking, because we use the park, the playground, and also the rec center facilities a lot, and hopefully I can contribute a little bit as a resident.
It's awesome. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening. Nick Arnold, and I have been in North Liberty for about 15 years now. My wife and I have 2 children who are now getting a little older, but also avid users of the recreation facilities, parks, youth sports, all that kind of stuff. So I've been fairly well exposed to all the offerings that we have, and just feel like this is a good fit for me to provide thoughts and insight and hopefully kind of shape the way things look for families like mine moving forward.
Thank you. Welcome. We look forward to working with you. All right. Move right along. And first order of business is approval of our December 7th minutes of our meeting. Do I have a motion?
I motion that we accept.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Anyone object to unanimous approval? Seeing none, minutes are approved as read. Which, before we go into our next thing, we need to talk about minutes. We don't
make
have
eye
contact. This commission is operating without a secretary at this moment, and we're up for more likely volunteers, a volunteer, or are we
Would either one of you like to be a secretary? Welcome to the committee.
Or Jeremy.
Right. Or Jeremy.
Yeah.
Or we can
Yeah.
always,
Jeremy.
we have a tradition of electing people who are not present.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do it if we need someone to do it.
Nick, thank
I
you.
don't have any paper with me right now, however, so that could be the
Well, there is a way you can watch the meeting and do the minutes. That's kind of the common way to do this. So if you need any assistance with that, we can help you with that.
I'll step in and do it. Yeah.
So
that's fine.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll give you a month to decide if that's going to be permanent.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I'll give you a month to decide if you like the results or not.
You're not locked in.
Thank you.
We want you to stay, so don't quit.
Yeah.
Well, our next item, we have Nick Burgess here from Communications, and we thought it's good to keep us informed about what's going on with the next stage, which is the Centennial Park project. So, Nick, appreciate you coming and let us know all the good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. I know we came and presented when we first sort of publicly started talking about the project, but and just to remind folks, Centennial Park, that the plan is to complete that piece in 4 stages. That first phase is the Centennial Center and Amphitheater. That's going to include all the really exciting utilities. It's going to include bathrooms, which is exciting. That event center, the amphitheater piece, and some plaza area. That's the first phase. The second phase is the addition of a splash pad, an expanded playground with some wheelchair accessible units, a picnic shelter, some more restrooms. Again, people are excited about the restrooms, shade structures, and some additional parking. The third phase is a year-round pavilion, so it can be used during the summer, and then in the winter, it'll accommodate our ice skating rink, as well as expanding that plaza space. And then the fourth phase is the Honor Garden and some additional parking. Despite the fact that we're working on this project through 4 phases, the capital campaign for this project is now. We don't plan to come back to the public in successive years to fundraise for this. And we are committed to the park's completion. So to date, we've raised, outside of local dollars, $2,265,000. I just added an extra word there, didn't I?
It sounded good.
$65,000. So that's more than 2.2 million, which is really exciting. That includes a $900,000 grant from the state of Iowa, a $500,000 grant from the Washington County Riverboat Foundation, $250,000 from the Watts Family Foundation, $100,000 gifts from Rely On Insurance and Shive Hattery, a couple of $50,000 gifts from the Community Foundation of Johnson County and Hills Bank and Trust, and several $25,000 gifts from Lynn County REC, Green State, Midwest One, and Think Iowa City. And as I was looking through those number states, it's also, I really want to make sure I note that we've seen more than $120,000 in gifts from individuals, from local residents. Those are gifts from $20,000 to $10, and each one of those is important and is moving us towards our goal. As I mentioned, on December 7th, we were awarded that $900,000 grant from the state of Iowa. We'd asked for $1 million. They gave us 90% of what we asked for, and gave us 90 days to make up that difference. So, before March, we need to we need to raise another $100,000. The great news is that year-end giving means that we're about halfway to that $100,000 to secure that grant.
Nick, what is the overall goal for the campaign?
Yeah, our goal is to reach $3.5 million total, and we're hoping to do that before groundbreaking in July.
Thank you.
We are continuing, obviously, to seek out funding opportunities to meet that goal. There are legacy opportunities. Naming rights for the center itself, as well as some other areas in the park, are available. Some smaller opportunities are available. Limestone blocks that'll be on the plaza, bike parking, picnic tables, things of that nature, as well as like assisted listening devices for the center itself. All of that giving is through the Community Foundation of Johnson County. They're our philanthropic partner on this, which is they handle a lot of the task and relieve staff of some of the burden of having to take credit cards and track donations and send tax receipts and things of that nature. So they've been a great partner for us. You can go to northlibertyiowa.org/give to make a pledge or to make a donation. We'd be happy to talk to you about opportunities that we still have available. The timeline stands that we're currently completing design documents with Shive Hattery. Next month, we expect to have completed construction documents before it goes out to bid in March. We expect construction to begin right after Blues and Barbecue this July. So we'll have Blues and Barbecue in 2024. Then we'll break ground. That will go through all the rest of the year. It'll continue into 2025. Sorry, beginning of the year. We expect substantial completion to come in August or September of the following year, 2025. So the indoor space will be usable come that fall and winter. We don't expect the exterior space to be ready to go until the next year. Following that, we expect the splash pad to come online in 2026. And then depending a lot on fundraising, phase 3 and 4, that the pavilion piece and the honor garden to be available and online by 2028. Ideally, the more we can do at once, the better. We'd like to see if we can get both phase 2 and 3 done at the same time. It just makes the park more usable. It keeps prices a little bit better for us, and things like that. While we won't open until 2025, we are working now to make sure that the space is going to be ready. We have a new staff member, Angela Millard, who just started right after Thanksgiving, to add some capacity to help us get ready for the center and then to help us operate it once it's ready to go. So she's helping us put together policies for its use, doing some sales and marketing stuff. She's also going to assist with some other city-owned public rental facilities. City Hall has a community space when it opens that she'll be working on, and can help rec staff with things like Jardine. and spending time thinking about what all we need to put in, what kind of events we can put on in this place once it's going. We've obviously done a lot of thinking about it already. We've obviously put on a lot of events out at Centennial Park, but continue to be excited about what this will allow us to do and relieve pressure from all the space needs at the community center. I'm happy to answer any questions you folks might have about where we're at, where we're going.
How will the construction impact Blues and Barbecue in 2025?
In 2025, we probably won't be able to accommodate the festival. So we'll have to think about what that looks like. Most of the good portion of the park will be in a fenced-in area and disturbed because there will have to be a lot of earthwork to get that during the construction. And Guy won't let us play in the mud.
So, I mean, are you open to moving that, or is that something somebody else's? Or am I
I
so not
thought
ask that
I
question?
thought that they said that they were going to take like an off year
Oh, is
and
that?
then they would restart.
I'm excited to get through Blues and Barbecue 2024 before I start thinking too deeply about 2020.
Well, some of us are 3 festivals ahead.
Understood. Understood.
We have
there
just
be-
such a great time.
Would there be thoughts or a possibility of incorporating 2025 Blues and Barbecue with like the grand opening if you postpone the date, or is the concern that you just can't be that specific as to when it will be ready to plan a festival?
Yeah,
with it?
when we're talking about booking acts and things like that, trying to roll it into a fall 2025. And I think there's also some concerns over Blues and Barbecue being the first big thing there. We'd maybe like to try a few maybe lower stakes events before we on the new
Soft
building.
opening. Yeah.
Soft
Soft
opening.
launch,
There
yeah.
you go. Yeah.
Do you have a sense, or are you able to share like what some of the ideas you have for some of the first few events you might hold?
Yeah, I mean, we see this as a space that can really bring the arts to North Liberty in a big way. So we'd like to do music, we'd like to do comedy out there. We've been working with the Englert Theater through this process, and they're super excited about being part of it. We'd like to do some work with Orchestra Iowa, who has been on board with working with us on this, and like the Quad Cities Ballet. So those are some of the big things. We know that our local school districts are excited to use the stage and the amphitheater to put on some of their student productions, and just some lower key stuff too.
That'd be so nice.
Mhm. That'd be great.
In terms of just the general ability to walk around the park, which
Yeah.
so many residents do, will that be impacted intermittently, or will that sort of always be available?
There will be a couple weeks where they have to bring in sewer and water that will impact
sure.
a portion of the trail, but the trail should be widely available.
Okay.
How about the playground?
The playground will not be affected, though there will obviously be construction in the park, and we'll be aware that families certainly use that throughout the summer.
I think you addressed this in that video that I watched of you earlier from last year or whenever it was put out on YouTube. For the types of events you're talking about, I guess I think a several part question, so bear with me. How many of those, number one, are we anticipating to do throughout the year? And then is there or will there be a plan for accommodating that many people on a more frequent schedule than Blues and Barbecue? I know parking can be an issue, and I'm assuming the grass spaces will not want to be used for parking any longer once it's complete. So I'm just curious, like, what kind of thought is going into that?
Yeah, this isn't the McGrath Amphitheater, right? We know this is in a neighborhood. We know that that we don't have the parking density. Blues and Barbecue is the high water mark for the intensity of use. We could imagine something, a larger public event happening maybe monthly during reasonable weather, though certainly not to the same scale as Blues and Barbecue. There will be a grass seating area that can accommodate a smaller group than we do for like Blues and Barbecue that might do a smaller event. But we're still working out what exactly those policies will look like, and we're going to
Gotcha.
approach it carefully.
Is there an idea in the minds of everyone as to like what size audience are you anticipating for like an Orchestra Iowa or Quad City Ballet?
Yeah.
Do we have an idea what that capacity looks like?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had enough events out there that we know we can do 500 or 1,000 folks. I think pretty comfortably. Obviously, that's parents, that's kids, you know, and so I feel okay saying that. Though, again, we're gonna approach that real carefully.
Okay. I'm just curious. And
Yeah,
I have a
yeah.
lot of questions because I apologize. These questions have likely been asked before by this group before I got here. So I think you hit on that. Another question I had was, I know there's the 4-phase process. Is it envisioned that once that's done, that's kind of you've maximized what the park can be at that point? Or is there down the road thoughts, what else can we do to Centennial Park? Because it's such a great location and it seems like there might be more space there, but I could be entirely wrong about that.
One of the things we want to make sure we do is preserve that big green lawn.
Yeah.
That's why we've concentrated all of the planning to the north. Additionally, the north hasn't. But there's not a ton of homes on the north side, right? It is across the street from a cornfield, and so we're also cognizant of the fact that folks who move there, despite us this being sort of in the plans for a decade, recognizing that perhaps they weren't aware of that when they built their homes and moved there. So I don't think we expect to do more to the south. Never say never, but I think this fulfills the master plan vision of that park, and I think and Guy would know this better than I, right? A north side park, I think, then becomes the next priority.
I'll second that. I'm on the north side, so that sounds fantastic. One of the things, and I apologize, everyone, so bear with me.
Right ahead.
One of the things I think I saw in the video you had done, and I'm just curious if there's a lot of thought that's been given to this, is potential use of the pavilion for a farmer's market. It looked like that was maybe suggested or implied. Is that something that's just down the road far enough we haven't thought about it, or?
Yeah, I think North Liberty has had a few fits and spurts of farmers market, and I think there's certainly interest in doing it. I think we need to make sure that we have the capacity to do it right.
Yeah.
So
I think the facility lends itself.
But yes, the intent is
yeah.
folks can not haul out generators. That we've got some shade. This is a place folks might frequent anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I think I'm done, y'all. So thank you.
Oh, it's great.
That's fine.
Nick, how many city events how many city events do you plan to do there throughout the year? Is it more city events than outside, or is it kind of?
No, it's going to be a
more
real mix.
outside?
We don't see this as a profit center, right? Much like we don't see the community center as a profit center. We do see rental uses, weddings, family reunions, conferences as being a way to help offset some of those costs. We have the spreadsheet with the numbers that we've plugged in, and I don't have them off the top of my head, but we do intend it to be a wedding venue or a private rental venue as well.
So how many city events for you guys? I mean, blues, beat the bitter.
Yep. So right now we do about 40 city slate events a year. All of those, of course, would not go out there, and there would also be non-city slate events that we would expect to see out there. I think we see it as a place as well to have partnerships. So, for example, the upcoming bike swap in February that we had last year, we had it down in Jardine, and this year it'll be throughout the entire Jardine. Might make sense to sort of have out there, where it's just a little more accessible for folks to try out bikes and bring in stuff. So we're really working through what that looks like exactly. I think that there's an opportunity to bring some of the events that we're currently doing now in the community center there. There's things that we'd like to bring back, like the Igloo Jam that used to be part of Beat the Bitter. South Slope doesn't rent out their facility any longer, so we don't have a space to do that in January, for example. I don't have a number off the top of my head, but I mean, I can imagine, a couple times a month or more having city events out there.
Other questions?
One more from me. Sorry.
Yeah.
For staffing, you had mentioned you had recently brought someone else on board, and when the facility is complete out there, is that the concept is that she would transition out there and kind of be like a venue manager, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So there's an office space in there, and Angel's office would move there. She's going to move to City Hall with us when we move out of the old aerobics room, and then she'll move into Centennial Center when it's complete. We do expect a second staff person to join in a few years as well to help manage that
The
space.
facility. Great. Thank you.
Wow.
Right.
I didn't know there was going to be an office space there.
A small little office space, yeah, so that we can have
so
somebody
there'll always
online.
be a full-time person there.
Yeah, that's the intent.
Okay.
Well, good. I think you mentioned the donations.
Yes.
People can still donate, and the $500 still gets a name on a
Yep.
plaque. Or
Any gift of 500 or more will be
500
permanently
or more,
recognized at the
right.
park. Yes.
And
So,
all
right.
community members can be a part of that.
That's correct.
Okay,
It's-
one question about the restrooms.
Yeah.
So this is going to be nitpicky, but do you know about the lock policy, or have you guys talked about that? Because sometimes restrooms are locked when it's like off hours or winter, or they have a code, or there's I was interested in, like, is it gonna just be open all the time, or are we gonna
We have
police it?
not discussed that with one guy Goldsmith yet.
okay.
Yeah.
And I would also comment on the bathrooms that there's a changing table in both the men's and the women's.
So these will be
Yay.
this will be gender neutral restrooms.
Okay.
Oh, that's excellent. That's great, because everyone needs to change a baby.
Will there be a mother's room?
An exterior one, no, but there will be two like dressing rooms inside the facility, as well as gender neutral restrooms for use of the hall, as well as some other spaces.
Great.
I would think about like having the restroom. I mean, I know there's like, you want to keep them sufficiently clean, but also like not having them locked. Because I feel like I've been to a lot of playgrounds where
Me too.
there's like a restroom, which is great, but it's locked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we haven't completely talked about the programming of these locks. More than likely, it might be such a thing as that they open at a certain time automatically and lock at a certain time, like when the park closes. But those are some things we have to discuss yet, logistics of all that, to see what is appropriate and what's not appropriate.
yeah, and I mean, I could understand there'd be like some safety, things to consider, but just like I remember, like often on the weekends or something, it would be daylight.
Yeah, during the winter.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, sometimes you have to
like
play even in the winter.
The Penn Meadows ones we leave unlocked 24/7 at
That's
Penn
awesome.
Meadows during the summer.
Oh.
Those are unlocked, except for the Babe Ruth field or the Owen Skelly field now. It'd be the north side by the closest to the playground. That
That's
is open
that's great.
24/7.
And these wouldn't need to be winterized. I know that some of our bathroom facilities
Right.
have to be winterized, and
Yeah,
so that's
these
why they're closed during
Yeah.
during daylight. During winter, these would not.
Normally by November 1st, we have everything that needs to be winterized. They're closed for the season.
Winterized meaning like just like the water.
Yeah, the water shut off and RV antifreeze dumped down all the traps and
Stuff, 'cause
yeah,
they're
so
not
things don't
heated.
freeze
Yeah, they're
Got
not
it.
and
heated.
protect the system. And like the splash pad we run,
Oh, right.
we have to get all that water out of the system. Otherwise it'd freeze.
So, Nick, are you saying these are these climate controlled, or just that the piping is not needed to be?
Sorry.
I think
We're so
I should know this. I think that there's some basic climate control as well as the piping should be.
There's more climate control in the wintertime than in the summertime.
So it'll be super
fine.
hot in this,
But better
But
than a
that's
porta
better than-
potty.
but better than a
Yeah.
porta potty.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, no.
Let's remind. We're just gonna have to
Yeah.
constantly remind.
No. We appreciate this. This is going to be massive. Thank you.
I'm really, really excited for this.
We
yeah.
are too.
Very exciting for the community, and when it starts to happen, it's going to happen. That's
Yeah.
what's for sure. So
Do you feel reasonably confident about reaching the goal, your financial goal? Or because I know,
3.5
because to me that seems like a deadline's really soon.
Which the first goal?
Yeah, the one, the matching or
The 50,000 left.
Yeah,
at
I
that.
feel very good about that. Like I
Okay.
say, we're more than halfway there, and I think there will continue to be opportunities. I feel good about the $3.5 million goal. We need some naming rights partners, and we're going to continue to approach those. But
I think our community is well respected. parks and everything that's going on in the community is well respected. We have more and more businesses coming, more and more people getting associated with the community, and we are a part of the urban area here. It's not that we're just isolated out here by ourselves. I think we're appreciated by our neighboring towns. So I think
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that the Washington County Riverboat Foundation
Yeah,
gives
I was
$500,000
shocked. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that.
speaks
No
to the
magic
regional
outside.
draw
Right.
that we expect it to be.
it's
I
important.
mean, I don't know who was behind that, but that was wonderful. When I read that I was like, wow,
That's
Yeah.
great. So whoever that is, good job. Was that you? No? Yeah?
It was Jillian and my team. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good job.
Good
No,
job,
I
guys.
mean, seriously, you guys,
Team effort.
that is a great,
Right there.
great accomplishment.
Yeah, that we all benefit from. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I might just have to go gambling. because-
Yeah, yes.
There you go. Or you can just write the check to us.
that's
It's
it.
all to be the same. And maybe I'll give you some money back.
I know, okay.
It's a yeah, maybe not.
Gamble.
We'll see.
I love it.
The
Take a chance.
$500 and above gift is appreciated.
There you go.
Too,
Absolutely.
Over
That's hilarious.
trips.
Wonderful. Thank
Oh,
you.
thanks a lot, Nick, for
Absolutely.
giving your
Thank you so
time
much.
coming tonight and keeping us posted. And as
Mhm.
things come up in the future, we are always glad to hear about it, because
Absolutely.
we know that some things with all these technical questions, probably in another year, there's new technology on some things that are being talked about today. But we know it's going to be first class, I think, as
Yeah, it's
everybody's
gonna be wonderful.
Always is.
pretty convinced that things are like that in North Liberty. We do it right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Nick.
And speaking of doing things right, okay, well, Guy will give us his monthly report.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm sure my report's not going to be nearly as glamorous as Nick's presentation here, but I'll get right into it. So we have been, since the parks are closed down, we have been concentrating a lot more on building maintenance. We do a lot of organization of our parks facility, just things that, it just needs to be done occasionally, and you need to clean out and organize things. So that's what we've been spending a lot of time doing. If you notice, the ice rink has been installed. Just waiting for cold weather so it freezes. I mean, there's a little ice on it, but not nearly enough to support patrons. I've been receiving a lot of phone calls. Probably it was about 4 or 5 yesterday, and I had a few today. Just people are really excited to get out on that ice skating rink, but you probably fielded a few calls too. So, and we don't know how somebody got in there, and we don't know how, because it's all locked up, and we have sandbags around to support, and a few of the sandbags are in, and so we had to go in and break some of the ice to get those out. And I don't know how they did. I don't know.
Figures out a way.
Yeah, they figured out a way to do it. But get some colder weather, maybe we'll get some ice. We have had to clear a little bit of snow, not a lot, but we've been pretty fortunate. Holiday was pretty decent. We did have to come in right there around New Year's Friday, yeah, and do a little bit. But we've been pretty fortunate about all the snow removal we normally do this time of year. So, however, I hear there's a little bit maybe in the horizon coming. So, yeah. I submitted the Trees Please grant. That's a grant that we apply for every year. It's through Mid-American. They pay up to $1,000. We normally get $1,000 every year to plant trees. This time we are applying to replace a few of our trees at Penn Meadows Park. A lot of it due to ash tree decline. So we're going to try getting some of those deciduous shade trees back in Penn Meadows to, get some future shade. So that's where that grant will go if we do get that.
Guy, when you buy those trees, just curious, are those larger trees that you buy and put in, or are we buying the little saplings and buying more of them and putting them in? Or
No, we typically carry around the 2.5 to 3 inch caliper. That's the diameter of the tree, about waist high.
Okay.
So we don't put saplings in because they just have a hard time. I mean, it'd be years before you get any kind of benefit. It seems like the 2.5 to 3 inch, within 5-10 years, they're really taking off. So that's what we normally plant.
awesome, thank you.
Yep. Also completed the Tree City USA application. I sent that off to Iowa DNR Forestry Department. It has since been approved at that level and has been sent off to the Arbor Day Foundation for final approval. I anticipate we'll hear back from that probably in February, maybe.
What does it take to get that? Because I know we've
Yeah.
gotten it for, like you said, almost 30 years. Is
Yeah.
it having a certain number of trees, dedicating resources to?
You have to spend $2 per capita. So you take your city population times 2, you have to spend minimum that amount on forestry.
That's awesome. Wow.
And then there,
Commitment.
that's the big one,
Yeah,
is the amount of money spent on
investing
it.
it.
Yes.
So they have to you have to show that you're really committed to
Yeah,
green
yeah.
space.
Exactly. And we show that we plant trees and that we have, we call them functions or
functions, community.
community functions
like,
regarding
yeah.
like our
Oh, sure.
Muddy Creek cleanup day kind of constitute as an activity that we do
Mhm.
promote. So I send that in with the application, things
Aw.
like that.
Nice.
But yeah, we're going on, I guess it's about 28 years now. So if we get it this year, but I'm anticipating we'll get it. So
Won't break your record.
Yep. We've done some training this month, CPR class, get recertified on that. I continue to meet with Shive Hattery regarding the city administration building, which is hopes to be completed by the spring. And also the Centennial Park Next Stage building design. We've spent a lot of time on the design of that. Today I met with Shive Hattery to go over the irrigation. So we're going to have some irrigation out around it. So we just wanted to go over that design. That's just one example. Attended city slate committee planning meetings. So we have a committee to plan next summer's city slate. We met 3 times to kind of go over and hash over what we want to add or subtract from the city slate. So that's underway. Also helped Shelley with interviewing a open custodial position. So we have Shelley has hired a new custodian up there. Also met with Shelley regarding the 5-year capital improvements project plan for the community center. And I have met with Ryan Heyer and Tracy McKay to discuss the FY 24-25 parks budget. That has been presented. On the 9th of January, we present to council, and we'll go from there. And just an update on the Pebble Court and Fairview Lane. During my budget discussions with Ryan, we're just going to work that in-house through the parks budget, the landscaping budget, and hopefully we can get that scheduled in for next summer. Do that roundabout.
Hallelujah.
Fantastic.
That's the plan.
That's amazing.
Do
I
that
appreciate
in-house.
you
So, yeah.
looking at doing that in that way. That's great.
Yeah.
I know our entire neighborhood will be
That's awesome.
excited.
And that we have opportunity for the public to be here and bring things to our attention or things to discuss. And this was one of the items that was
Yeah.
brought by a neighborhood group, and guys been able to act upon that.
I know it's a process. Sometimes things take a long time.
Yeah.
Of course
But
they do.
no,
and
when
that's
the
understandable.
residents do come in and show interest and thing, it is a big boost to get something
Yeah.
happen.
So can you say that again?
It
How
is very
happening?
important to have the community come in and voice their opinions in a format like this. So
And it's being funded then through your regular
yeah,
sort
my
of
the park's operating budget, we have a line item for landscaping. We're just going to take it out of that,
out of that.
and yeah,
Awesome.
That's great. And
So
you know,
we're-
they had a very modest ask. They just wanted to
Yeah.
improve the it feels like, oh, that's really nice that they can get what they wanted. You know, they wanted something reasonable and
Yeah.
you're able to make it happen. Wow.
That's great.
Tim will work that into his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that takes away from
Yeah.
something else, so it is greatly appreciated.
yeah. So other than that, does anyone have any questions?
How long does it take you to do the ice rink?
To get it set up, it takes a good day to set it up. Tim, you can speak on that because you were up there. I kind of skated out, no pun intended, on.
An hour and a half, 2 hours just to do the walls and tarp and the straps, and then it takes 3 or 4 hours to get enough water in there to cover it all. So
How many
it's-
people is that?
It's all
for the
over
setup?
day. There was 5 of us out there
Wow.
doing the walls and all the straps
So you just
and
put-
plastic.
Like sandbags, and then you just fill it up with water, and then it freezes.
Yeah.
Wow.
There are
Yeah,
straps actually
we get the
tied from side to
walls.
side
Yep.
underneath.
Yep. There's some buckle strapping.
Interesting.
Yep. And then we just pull out this great big all one piece tarp up over
Yep.
the walls, and we sandbag it just to help hold it while we try to get water on it.
And then do you just let it melt, like at the end of the season?
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we let it
Or
melt,
we'll
and
go
then once it's
pull a
water
corner.
again, we'll cut the plastic,
Yeah.
let it drain out.
Just
We get
let
new
it-
plastic every year.
Yeah.
Oh.
We tried to save it at first, and it was not worth it because after it's frozen and skaters are going around, they cut up the edges,
Oh,
and yeah, it's just non-usable.
Is that all one continuous
Yes.
piece?
Yep.
Yeah.
How does that arrive?
85 foot by 120
120.
foot.
Where do you
Gosh.
get something
Who do you-
like that?
There are
Amazon?
companies
Yeah,
out there that
there's-
specialize
Who
in
brings
that.
that?
Yep.
Wow.
Is that one half of the tennis courts, or is the whole? Do you take out that middle fence and?
No, it's not the whole.
It's just the one half.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So 2
How much
tennis
does an
courts
ice
worth.
rink cost?
Well, I think initially it was over 10 grand for that whole system, and to replace the plastic, it's around $1,000 every year.
Okay.
Replace
So
the
once you
plastic.
buy it, then you just have to replace that plastic.
Just
Yeah,
So it's-
for now,
plastic.
yeah.
Yep.
And then do you do new sandbags every year, or are those just stored?
No, those are our
Stored.
yes,
Yeah.
storage
Wow.
sandbags. So
Very
That's not
efficient.
so bad.
Aside from the ice skating, is there one year they did curling? Am I
Mhm.
right? Is that in the works this year?
I'm hoping so. A
was
lot of
fun.
times that's through when Beat the Bitter happens.
Yeah.
So
That's right. That was super fun.
There's somebody
I
else
know
here
they
that
like
loves
to have-
curling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to.
I'll have to find
real
that
into
person.
it.
Yeah, he's
Jeremy.
real into it. Jeremy's
Oh,
into
Jeremy.
it.
Oh yeah. All right.
Nick, you might want to talk to Matt Messick at the rec center too.
yeah.
He talks with the curling club up in Cedar Rapids to
Okay.
come down for Beat the Bitter in the past. Again, it has to be really conducive ice in order for
Yeah.
that. But I know he has a couple connections too. So talk to Matt at the
Well,
rec
I'm just
center.
mainly convinced I can make the Olympic team if I just practice.
There you go.
Yeah, you need to talk to Jeremy.
Yeah, you and Jeremy can go.
We're really looking forward to having the ice rink, moving it from Penn Meadows to Centennial. Because our biggest hurdle out here at Penn Meadows Park is that it's sloped a little bit. So when you have 4 inches of water on one side, you may have 9, 10 inches on the other side of it.
Whoa, that's a big.
And so it freezes a little different.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So
That's a much big
yeah.
depth.
However, when it does freeze, it's very nice because you can turn the lights on at night. So yeah, it's very nice when we have good ice, but it's not ideal. It works, but it
Right.
maybe not as long in the seasons. We could use it.
Last year, what we have 1,
It
maybe
was
2 weeks.
Yeah, it was
Maybe.
not
It
long.
wasn't.
Oh.
Yep, last year
Yeah,
was
last
horrible.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change.
So then every time it snows, we have to go out there and clear off snow too. So
Wait, so last year there was only 1 to 2 weeks of ice
Remember
rink?
last year we didn't hardly have
right
any
before Beat the
ice.
Bitter.
It was,
Right
it was
before
like
Beat the Bitter.
slushy, and then there was a problem. And
Yeah.
And it got real cold, so nobody go, and then it,
yeah, it was weird. It was weird winter.
Well, with all this talk about ice skating, maybe I see a commission meeting out there, skating party there. Skating rink.
I'm on
Strap on
board.
your skates.
I'll be.
Those are skates available at the rec
Rec
center?
center, yep.
You're going to talk about that?
The, not only ice skates, but also the little training seals.
Mm.
You push
That's
along
awesome. Yeah.
for like the little ones to hang
Oh,
on to.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
Like we see.
I did
them.
not know that.
Do you have those for like grown up size too? 'Cause
Yeah.
these
Sure.
super-
Yeah, we need them.
I did have just a couple of questions.
Sure.
Sorry. And again, probably things you've
No, that's
discussed,
quite all
but
right. Quite all right.
Here
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
the Fox Run Park Pond Trail project, is there like an elevator speech for that? I'm not familiar with what that
Yeah,
entails.
that's went out to bid. It's been awarded. Came in really well. So end of July, beginning of August, or in August, that the project's going to start, and hopefully be done by fall. So
And what's the highlights of what's being done with it, with the project
Oh.
itself?
the project itself? There's going to be a lot of the connectivity that goes into the park. There are a lot of sidewalks that go between houses that just dead end into the park. So that's all going to be tied in with a kind of a walking trail around the pond. And then there's going to be a playground that's going to go off the trail.
Oh, awesome.
So the middle middle of August, that's when we have planned to have the playground start to go in. So I'm hoping to have all the work done about the same time so we can have a grand opening.
And that's the design the board approved a few meetings. I was reading through
Did
the
you
old
see that
minutes.
playground?
I saw it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really cool. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
way
okay.
cool.
That makes more sense now. Just didn't tie that together for some reason.
It's going to be awesome.
The other question I had is just, and maybe this is a Shelley question. You'd mentioned the 5-year community center capital plan. Is that something that's been discussed in detail here that we would know about, or
No,
is that kind of coming?
Biggest thing that we're
It's in
working on right
progress.
now is we had Shive come in and do the facility assessment plan of the rec center / pool / everything at the community center site. So that from that report is a lot of the major items that Guy and I have been talking about on doing. Biggest thing was the roof getting replaced last year only?
Mhm.
Jeez.
Yep.
Time flies. So the roof was major number one. And some things coming up from that facility through that plan. Shive did like a priority 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and now we're trying to group those together to have a plan of action, I guess you would say, but then to also hopefully work in some other things that just pop up as that facility ages. That's the biggest thing right now. That's
How old is the building? Like, when was it built?
Phase 1 was 97 was when that opened up. So the first gym and a couple of those north rooms was 97. Was that open? 2004 was the pools and the second gym edition. So 20 plus years.
I was like, oh, I don't think that's that long.
Didn't seem like it was that long. Yeah.
I was like, that's 20. I mean,
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. Just to let you know, windows on the second level is one thing that's really coming up in the pool area. If you haven't been to the pool recently, those duct socks that go across the ceiling, when we shut down the air handling unit and turn it back on, those got to the point of age that the connection piece at the top is so brittle that it just was like a zipper. And as soon as one fell, they all fell.
Oh.
So we're in the works to get those replaced. Let's see, duck socks. And then biggest thing, parking lot, between entryways, sidewalk work.
Curb repair.
What was that?
Curb repair.
Curb repair,
Yeah.
along with
Some draining issues. Yeah.
grading issues.
That we wanna address.
Mainly the west library side, and then the south side by the pool. It all kind of drains and settles in at a hard spot. So we did have a meeting again today trying to figure out, of course, we can't, it'd be nice to just, okay, close down and go with the parking lot all at one time, save some money, get it all done in one shot, but we can't afford to do that. So we'll probably do like the west and east side of the building first phase. The south parking lot is the oldest. We'll do that phase 2, and then the north side phase 3. So we kind of have to plan around. And again, unfortunately, it's the upkeep of an aging facility is kind of the money that we're sticking into that facility.
along that kind of line, is there thoughts? I know we just had the presentation from Centennial Park in the stage, and that's, the big project in town right now. But is there thought after that? What's the next big thing? Is it an expansion in the community center? Is that in the works? Is that a question that's been asked many times, apparently, judging by the
That's been
chuckles?
asked quite a few
Yeah.
times. When is that key? What is the key information needed in order to make that move? And again,
Well, and
then
I don't
also-
know that as a community member, if you're not in that facility a lot, because I've been in the facility about 3-4 times, I guess, in the last 6 weeks. I am shocked in the evening, the use of it.
it's very.
I mean, it is. Oh, you want to talk about overuse?
It is bumping.
It is happening there.
Well,
I
like
mean,
we
you've got
said,
kids, you've
yeah.
got adults, you
That's
have,
what it's for.
but I mean, I don't think I had any idea how much, and how many
Library.
classes and quilling and knitting class, and you've got this one, and we've got basketball, and I mean, it's just amazing.
like you said, I mean, it's been 20 years, but the town has
Oh,
exploded in
yeah.
20
Jeez,
years.
yeah.
So like the pool and stuff like that
Yeah.
probably all needs to be bigger, but 20 years ago, it didn't need to be bigger. But
But
so those are things that we
Yeah.
we have to look at besides upkeep of the current facility that we have. So that's the hardest part. And yes,
Sure.
I mean, we have to not have open gym on certain things because we have programming going on that, we can't have the gyms open. Like tonight, we have an event with the library that's going on that we couldn't have the gyms open. So you have people coming that want to use the gyms. They can't use the gym.
I saw all the
That doesn't
balloons
always go
earlier.
over
I was at the gym earlier and saw all the balloons were being put up.
Yeah.
So it's,
And hopefully
Yeah.
the Centennial will take some of those more special events away from the gym activities, and we can not interrupt the gym activities. So again, it's a balanced system of a lot of things going on, but yeah, that's what we're there for.
Yes.
We just try and have to, again, from 4:00 to close is Monday through Friday, plus on, coming up on Saturdays, the gymnasiums with youth basketball starting now is going to be every Saturday for 2-3 months. So it's definitely a busy facility, especially, hey, that's what people go and look for, especially when cold weather sets in. So
That's the hardest part when people come on the weekends and, for the next, 6, 7, 8 weeks, we're
yeah.
not going to be able to use the gyms because we're there pretty much from 9:00 in the morning till 6:00 at night because there's that many teams to have and that many kids to have. So
That's just
we
for the
just do-
basketball.
and we just do first and second
Wow.
grade in North Liberty. So that's just first and second.
But I have to tell you,
140,
that is I guess what I want to say is what a wonderful testament to our community
Yeah.
that we have this.
Like it is being used at capacity.
I mean,
We're lucky
it
we-
is
we're lucky we
being
have it.
used.
Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot say that place is not being used. And it is, and I mean every square inch, corner, bathroom. I mean, it's crazy. The library.
there's someone
the
doing
side
push-ups in a
rooms,
corner.
It's just amazing.
Top.
We've got
Pretty impressive.
the growing pains, like you
Yeah,
say, of
that's-
upkeep
yeah.
plus looking at
Yeah.
expansion. And yes,
Yeah.
we keep
Yeah.
talking about all those possible expansions.
And there's really not any space at the community.
That was
center
my
to
next
do
question. You
that.
can't really go up,
Sites.
can you?
Locked
So you're
in.
kind of,
you have to go up.
you'd have to go up and
somewhere,
yeah.
or somewhere else.
Offsite.
Somewhere else.
work this out, move.
I
Maybe,
mean,
maybe it's a
ideally-
new library.
Ideally, would be out by Centennial Park and create some more parking, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be another option to help out there because there isn't enough parking out at Centennial for some of the events that.
Yeah, well, I will say I frequent there. I'm there 5 times a week probably, and I think it's a fantastic facility. I think the staff there is amazing, and all the problems you just mentioned, I wouldn't never notice them. So that's probably a good thing that the roof didn't collapse on us while we were there.
always
I think that's
sometimes want to think about what new could we have someplace, but we've got to spend money on keeping up
All
what
the
we
fun
have.
stuff,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what'd you call those things? The duct.
Duck socks.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
the
Those
thing
aren't
is,
those
if
aren't
it-
cheap either. So
Yeah, and if it looks much fancier, will that the membership be maintain the same or it will go up? Because right now it's very reasonable for
Yeah.
residents.
Yep.
It is reasonable
yeah,
for a family.
So we talk about one thing I had on here was a update on the North Park acreage or whatever. What's going on up there?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the purchase is getting finalized or has been finalized. Now, from what I've heard, that we will probably sit on the property for a few years before we actually develop it. We're trying to concentrate on Centennial Park right now currently. So the initial thought of that property is to have like a soccer complex with let's say a concession stand similar to like Penn Meadows Park, playground, but that's just a concept idea. I mean, we'll have to see.
Is that the Penn Street and Jones area?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah, it's basically it's the property right behind Liberty Hardware, LD,
Oh, yep.
just to the north
Yep.
of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Since you brought it up, another question I had about that facility in particular. I don't know if Brian, maybe you sent me something that had an email. I'd asked you a bunch of questions, obviously, and you'd answered some of them, but that was brought up. And I thought about it, and this is probably way too early, but if we're talking soccer or multi-use field facility, thoughts on what that might look like in terms of would it be grass? Would it be a field turf facility of some sort that is more kind of
Right. No,
immune to
it's-
the elements, or
Right now it'd be turf grass, like a
traditional field?
traditional field.
Okay.
Not artificial turf.
No,
artificial. Right,
Yeah.
right.
traditional. Yeah. Yeah.
Has there been thought to look at the artificial just in terms of less maintenance and, more usability in wet weather, better drainage, things like that? Or is that just kind of not in the cards as we
I
speak?
don't know. I do know that those artificial turfs are starting to go away because your players are injury prone on those. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of football fields change back over to actual
When they
turf.
have the material has that, what are those things called that are?
Fiberglass or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
the-
rubber.
Black
Little
rubber
black
pieces.
rubber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you saying it just for my knowledge? So like you're more likely to get injured on just because it's like harder, or
Yeah, it's not as forgiving.
okay,
Ankles, knees, things like that just don't. Yeah, it's just
okay,
things catch and
catch.
it's a lot more money to do that, to put those in.
I'd also wonder, like in terms of sustainability, if that's better to go organic. But then again,
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't
not
know.
organic, but like better to go with
I think
But then
that's-
again, I
If you got,
understand it's.
I don't know all that goes into it. My experience just comes from my son plays lacrosse and they go to Des Moines and they have this really massive field turf area. And I'm like, that's kind of nice. Like it's not muddy. It's all even, which you could probably do with, natural turf too. I don't know, but, my shoes don't get wet and muddy. And it seems like it's more usable in that kind of weather. So that was my reason for bringing it up.
And I think those are things we'll all talk about as we get going, because we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know if it is a soccer complex, it could become a large thing. We might have to think about something like that, but we haven't got to that point yet.
Yeah,
so.
That's
That's
piece
down
of
the road a
property
ways.
that's,
Yeah.
a piece of
It might
property
sit 5
that's
years.
long range. Of course, how many years ago was Centennial Park a dream? So but it'll be there, I think. So, but that's
Great.
Thanks for the update.
Thanks
on
thanks
that.
again for indulging me.
And of course,
I appreciate it.
we always appreciate guys' pictures. It's just proof.
Not as many this month.
I'm gonna say if we
I
go
was
back
wondering.
when they plant the trees, you'll see how big the trees are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Good pictures. Okay, well, we'll segue into Shelley's report then from Rec Center.
I mentioned it in November that December is actually a big month for registration, and that covers the January through April programming that we do. And you can see by my month report that we did have a high registration there, 106,000 plus dollars taken in. And again, a lot of it you can tell through the rec desk report and stuff. You can see the different divisions of swim lessons was a big one. Just start of another season or session of swim lessons was huge. Programming fees, memberships this time of month, memberships increase as well. So you can see that in that rec desk report, the breakdown of the revenues taken in for the month of December. It's also that time of year, as we get colder, busier time of year, as Gwen has mentioned, more and more you see more activity with people coming in using the indoor weight and exercise area, indoor pools, and then along with the programming. And we've already mentioned the basketball starting up every Saturday in the gymnasium. So just busy time of year when people move inside. Guy mentioned also that we did interview for our full-time custodial maintenance position. Adam Hoshek was offered the position. He's actually starting this upcoming Sunday for the first week. We're going to have him work the night shift with our overnight guy, Jeff, to kind of get more of the janitorial duties down. Also, Mark is our custodial supervisor. He had back surgery and is on limited duty right now. So we're giving him a little more time. Hopefully he'll be back. And then actually Adam's normal shift will be 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. So basically then we have those three individuals, Mark, Jeff, and Adam, to handle our custodial maintenance at the facility. So it's been a little bit of a struggle lately, just filling the position, plus then Mark being down with back surgery. But we've had a lot of part-time staff step up. Jeff at night has stepped up and trying to keep up with all the use of the facility and keeping it looking good. So kudos to them, and hopefully we'll get everybody on board and have a full staff here by middle of the month. So
So Shelley, I noticed this said that it has increased 218 people. That's a lot, isn't it?
that's our database. So that's basically anybody that's in rec desk. So either sign up for a program or getting a membership.
Okay.
Actually, it's been pretty average, right
consistent?
around 200.
Okay. I guess that
Yeah.
seems like a lot.
Again, with the youth basketball, I kind of saw a little more of like Tiffin, Oxford area. Again, it's just different new people coming in. We get a lot of people using the membership for the north side of Iowa City, north side of Coralville, instead of them heading downtown and parking and facing some other hurdles. We get a lot of users from surrounding, let alone just the residents. And you can see the breakdown there too of that database, 60-40, 60% residents, 40% non-residents. So it's good.
It's really surprising to me it's that many non-residents. I mean, I understand exactly what you said, but boy, that's a lot.
Yeah. And again, I mean, eventually, if we get to that point, you talk about facility, talk about overcrowdedness, will we have to make any changes? I can see that one being the first thing we have to do is address residents versus non-residents. But right now, hopefully, we don't need to get to that point, and we can be
What is
accommodating.
the cost difference for a resident versus a non-resident? Roughly, is it 10%? Is it 50% more expensive?
When we did memberships, I believe the difference was 20% on the membership piece.
Yeah.
Just the daily fee, it's $1 difference. That is one thing we are working on now this year, probably to incorporate probably in the fall, is looking at all our fee structures. And that might be something that we have to take a look at. Is we haven't increased in, you remember what year that was? It's been quite a while since we have done any fee raising, membership wise, program wise, whatever.
It's like 2017. I
be
remember
a
it
good
was 1 year my membership went up.
Went up? Okay. You could be right.
What I'm wondering too, because it might be beneficial for these discussions and just in a general knowledge sense for us and for me in particular, is there a way to track these numbers that you're giving us to go back and show kind of year over year? If you went back to 2020 or 2021 and just kind of said, okay, January, February, March, here's the numbers, and you can kind of see that usage is going up, and that I think could inform a lot of decisions that might have to be made about increasing non-resident fees or to argue for a bigger facility, right?
Like they're going up because
show our usage is through the roof. You can see the last 5-year trend, like we need more space and kind of jumpstart those conversations. I'm just curious if your system allows for that, or if you can go back that far.
Through monthly reports that we do, along with the rec desk system, we can go back in years and get a lot of that data. One example of that would be, I know when we talked about, I think it was holidays or something, I had to go back and see, what our usage was, what's our high days, what our low days are, and stuff like that. And so, yeah, there's definitely information out there that I can get through rec desk, through our daily reports on our busy time. Again, right now, January, February are busy with New Year's resolutions for like the weight and exercise area. I know that.
Here I am.
Come April, when it tanks down, and we'll probably definitely have to, when we generate that information, go by season to kind of correlate some of that information. And because again, it's not
I would wonder
year
too,
round, but
like with so much resident and there's so much non-resident use, is that proportional to like Iowa City or Coralville or the other surrounding areas? Like, is that a pretty normal ratio, or do we have a higher ratio, like your colleagues at these other spots? Do we have like a higher ratio of non-resident use than say Iowa City, or are we kind of the same? Is it always sort of to
Because
that?
Coralville has a rec center.
Yeah, they
Right,
have a rec
right.
center. It's not as nice, but
again, I think
There you go.
parking wise, that's always an issue. So I think again, we're a little bit more conducive parking.
So we
that's
might have
why
like a
we get
higher
where we don't
proportion
get
of-
a lot of North Liberty going to Coralville unless it's for a program.
I
If
went
it's
there for a
held there.
parade.
But if again, I think we get a little bit higher, I would say, of the non-residents versus a lot of North Liberties aren't going
I think it's
down
a
to Corvallis.
testament too to the functionality of the facility. You
Right,
know,
yes.
I'm trying to think through Coralville Rec Center, which is a fine facility, but not as functional, right,
Right.
as the offerings that we
have
have.
more things to offer than the Coralville Rec Center.
Iowa City is
It's all
very
older.
split in terms. There's so many university properties. You know,
Right.
the Robert A. Lee isn't as functional, I don't think, as ours either. So I think that's probably a testament to why we might see those higher numbers, is because it has more
And
offerings
like,
for
yeah, the
people to take
library's right
advantage
there
of.
next to the
Yeah.
Yeah,
We just can't
there's-
help it. North Liberty's cool.
Yeah.
We're-
Accessibility
we're the
for
cool
our
kids.
Solon and Tiffin neighbors
we're all
that
Yes.
don't have a
Yes.
facility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
does Solon and Tiffin have a facility?
No, they have, Solon has a
Solon has-
library.
Solon has a small, they took over the school.
Very small.
It's very small. So they have a gym and they have rooms that they can use, but it's not, I mean, it's
But
a
they're
school.
growing a lot, and Tiffin is
Mhm.
building like crazy.
Tiffin's been trying to
They've
get
talked about
a
it.
community center, but no traction.
Why?
Because they're
Money.
coming here.
Comes
Funding.
down to money.
Funding.
Yep.
It's a
They
lot of
don't.
money.
They don't want to allocate their tax dollars.
They have a lot of infrastructure to worry about.
That's a good point.
Water,
Land.
sewer, yeah, to keep up with the development that's there.
Going through the growing pains.
Yep.
As we're hopefully kind of keeping up.
Shelley, I had one other question about, so if you do raise the membership, will there be scholarships for families that may or may not?
Yeah, we'll continue with our financial aid
Okay,
scholarship
all right.
program.
So that's still going. And are all those always taken every year?
We don't put a limit on it.
Oh wow.
Really?
I could also see like a nice like opportunity. Like if you're buying your family, could you sponsor another family?
Sure.
Like that would be like a nice program to do, like around the holiday or something. Just like
Yeah.
like private donations to support other families.
And we're
Good
getting
idea.
calls every once in a while, like grandparents live out of town, and they'll call up and, hey, how can I pay for this? You know, as far as getting the family a membership for the
Or pool
grandkids or
passes.
pool passes.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of those where, organizations come and they pay for the kids or the family and their
Yeah.
summer membership.
Which
for a
is
pool,
wonderful.
so.
I mean, it's
That's
great.
fantastic.
That's what a community is
It's a
all
great
about.
idea.
Yeah,
That-
but it'd be nice if we could, like kind of direct it.
Yeah, that's one of those things we try to communicate a lot of, so much stuff as we're talking to the public here, is on website and things. If you have neighbors that don't have access to web information, to give them information and also share with neighbors that there are ways, if they're, you know anyone with financial hardship, that there are ways that them and their family and their children can participate in activities through just a registration process.
And it's
you
for
know.
City of North Liberty
Yeah.
residents. We don't
Right.
do it for Coralville or
Right.
Tiffin.
That
It's-
makes
You
sense.
have
The
to live in the
financial-
City of North
Well, that's what
Liberty.
it should, I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's what it should be.
Yeah, and I'd also wonder about things like swim lessons. Sorry to get off the deep end. Oh God, the deep end. But because like there's a lot of statistics about socioeconomic differences in terms of like access to learning how to swim, and then that can have really profound
Drownings.
consequences. So if there was ever a way to do like private donations to like support low income families who need swim lessons for their kids, that would be like a really nice.
Speak into your mic to the public
Oh,
that's
sorry.
listening to us.
Yeah, because I think that's really important because I think of it as like I have a kid and like he has to swim because that's like that's not like a sport, that is a like so you can survive, and so I think that is a life skill that like every child should have access to, and I think that I would definitely be willing to support some sort of community funded.
And Ashley does the free swim lesson.
Oh,
couple
they
of
do?
Time
Okay.
frames, Ashley. Yeah.
Okay, well,
our
then that's
aquatic
awesome.
supervisor. So we do that. We have the financial aid piece, for the pool memberships to
That's
get
amazing.
those. And then actually we do have, Ashley's working on it. We had Liza Grimes was a student, a North Liberty student that they started a memorial fundraiser that we have some months that Ashley's trying to figure out how. I think Iowa City, Kate down in Iowa City was doing the same thing, had some funding, scholarship money to offer. And Ashley's trying to figure out how they work that and what are the hurdles that they've faced with that and trying to get that in place as well. So there's a number of opportunities that we
Oh, that's
provide
so cool. I
that
didn't know.
free and less.
And I think the
cost.
pantry is aware of how to tell people how to go about getting.
Oh, And I remember earlier this fall, there was an open house for the rec center to open to the public and encourage people to sign up for their membership. I was there, and that was when I got my membership. But when I asked, told people around, many people here, they were not aware of the open house. So I wonder if, there are people down there, they are willing to pay for their own membership. They want to join, and maybe there can be more publicity. I noticed that. So, like for me, whenever I want to search for events during the week or over the weekend, I use the Facebook events, and I'm not exactly sure if you like all the events on. For the rec center are on the fall activity guidebook, or they are also advertised through the Facebook events, because in that way that might be reach more people.
That's one of the hurdles we're having right now is any of the Facebook promotion is through either Nick and communications department, or I know the library has their own site. But right now we've asked to have our own site, and they've wanted
I
us
searched
to
lots
have
of
a
the
joint
city events through the city the website.
the
City
city
site.
But many people
communications
miss
department.
them.
So that's been hard. As far as on the rec side, the brochure is our main publicity form of getting the word out, along with going to Rec Desk. That software, again, going into the search bar and just typing in swim lessons will definitely get you to some of that information. At any time, though, please come to the rec center and ask questions, because we'll try and get you as much information as we can.
There's
Well,
still
that-
hard copies of the book available at the rec center.
Yep.
I think this is a problem just in communities in general, because we used to have newspapers. Newspapers. I still get 2 every day. Only one probably in my neighborhood. Anyway, you had everything in that, and that's not how people get information.
Get
They
information.
don't. So
It's
I
not
do think it's a
centralized.
problem, and I think
Yes.
communities are having a hard time catching the wave of social media and stuff.
Well,
like
it's so
that.
much more work because you can't just put it in one place. Are you going to
Yeah.
advertise on TikTok?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many different venues.
it-
But that's
has
also
worked
a
out.
great intern. If you can get the city communications department to open up that channel, boy, that's what interns are built for. I mean, well, and quite honestly, because they get it, they live in that world, social media world. First of all, they tend to be younger. I mean, they'll knock that stuff out like that, and you don't have to pay them.
And again, it's worked out great.
And then they can
Working with
complain about it later.
communications and the library and the rec, we all three kind of
Everything
now
work
with the city
together.
slate information, and just having that team collaboration has helped spread the word too of what's going on all sides of the facility there at the community center. So again, there's few hurdles yet we're still trying to accomplish, but we're trying to work as a team too and help each other out, promote each other's events. And
We let
Find that
Nick go
information.
home too soon.
I may have a cell phone. We'll get him back here.
Shelley, Brian, you talked about first and second graders with basketball. I was going to share again how that's all working with the towns and everything. Your basketball.
So first and second grade is all held here. Third and fourth grade is held, well, some first and second grade is actually in Tiffin also, because we have so many first and second graders. It's crazy this year. But normally first and second grades in North Liberty, third and fourth grade, we hold at 2 elementary schools in Tiffin. And then Van Allen has fifth and sixth grade boys, and Coralville Rec Center has fifth and sixth grade girls. So we kind of spread it out that way. Like our officials that we get for the third through sixth grade, because we don't do officials for first and second, that's all done by the coaches, are all high school kids, either basketball players, athletes of some sort normally. With my ties to the school, it's been very easy the last couple of years to kind of get some of those kids, and we pay $20 a game, and they come out and see what it's like to be on the other side and not be an official instead of being somebody that's unhappy with the official. So they get to do that stuff. So that's kind of cool. And we share this program with the city of Coralville and the city of Tiffin. Our fifth and sixth grade this year, we started a new thing where it's NBA, junior NBA, and WNBA. So they'll get reversible jerseys. So if it's the Indiana Fever for the girls side for the WNBA, or the Los Angeles Lakers, are getting reversible jerseys for the fifth and sixth graders this year. So that's something new that we're starting this year just for fifth and sixth grade. It's kind of a build up to
You got to
get to
earn
that
the
point
have to
for
earn
us.
the jersey.
Yes, yeah. So that's a pretty cool thing, but it's a hard program to put together since there's 3 cities and trying to get everybody on the same page and releasing things at the same time and doing all that. But I mean, it's worked. It's worked since I've been here. So yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Yep.
I think that's another reason the draw, that high percentage of outside, non-residents is the way we work with our neighboring towns. I think that's
And
good.
we do it
That's
for
important.
we do it for flag football, volleyball, basketball, and we're
Wow.
talking about doing it for a golf sort of thing with pin seekers. Also doing some sort of
Mm.
golf thing.
Oh,
with that.
yeah.
So
What about soccer?
I do soccer here in North Liberty on
Okay, just
with
but
somebody
just
that I
us?
have that we do, and
Okay.
it's getting larger and larger. Like guys said with the soccer stuff, and I know he has bigger ideas also because he's been to all those places in Des Moines and Grimes and Ankeny that are, every weekend, all the time. There's stuff going on, and I understand what you're saying on the turf compared to grass because it gets beat up. So, but yeah, that's. Our soccer program keeps growing and getting more people, and he keeps expanding it and tweaking things. So we're on our second year. Well, we'll be our second year of kind of having Jason Witt kind of run it, and he used to be with CRSA and Cedar Rapids. So he kind of has an idea and a plan of what to do because he's seen it and coached it and went to all these places, either St. Louis or Texas or wherever. So he's got a lot of ideas too. So whenever we get to that point, I mean, that's something that we'll definitely discuss. And talk
Jason was the best player on my elementary school soccer team for 6 years. So that's no lie. He's fantastic.
Good.
But with that, kind of leads me back to that complex question too. I mean, I think you can look at those things as destinations and almost like profit centers too. And if there's a public-private partnership potential, because those are programmed from March through October every weekend, and you have the facilities, people will come, right, and that not only brings money to the facility and to the city, but then the economic impact you can have for the community could also be felt too for the restaurants and gas stations and
if
everything
it's
else they're
going,
doing here.
in this new park that's going to be close to all this stuff that's being built
Yeah.
right now. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
it's like a
Oh,
destination.
that's
Yeah.
a good
itself,
point.
So your cost layout is obviously
yeah.
probably exponentially higher
Yeah.
by doing something like that. But then if you're constantly programmed and able to bring in that revenue and then bring in people to town, I think there are benefits that can be explored there. But
Any other questions for Rec Center? Well, we have no one from the community tonight to speak to us. Reminder that you're always welcome to bring things to our attention, or ideas or interests that you'd like to share with us. So the upcoming events, Shelley, you want to go over those?
We've touched on a little bit of it. The Saturdays, youth festival we already talked about. Actually, coming up at the end of the month is Beat the Bitter events. They're listed. Basically the Beat the Bitter events start the 26th of January and go through the end of February. January 26th, we have the North Liberty Lights and the 5K Glow Run around Liberty Center. The 27th is ice fishing at Liberty Pond, and then the 28th is Fire and Ice, and that's the fire and ice sculptures and fireworks and stuff at Penn Meadows Park. So just those are definitely the bigger events coming up in the month of January.
Winter, again, some of those kind of unique, specialized events to North Liberty that we are proud to have. A lot of things are free. Everybody get out and participate in a lot of those. The beautiful lights around Liberty Center and all the things out at the Fire and Ice show and everything. It gets people out in our community. And then there are the Snuggie Crawl and some of those things if you want to participate in. Those are of choice, but do appreciate all the things that are going on in the community and the great city slate and everything that comes up. So. And do we have any new business or old business? I think we've taken care of everything.
Any timeline for the trail that's going to go past the dog park?
Yes.
Okay. You going to share?
I'm pretty sure.
2025?
Yeah, about FY 25.
Dang it. Okay.
You can walk from home to the dog park. Is that your?
Well, I
Your
have
list?
to tell you, and again, I'll say it is really dangerous.
Mhm.
The people on their bikes and
Right.
it's just that road is.
We're debating on how, once we get to the dog park, how do we get people across? There's really not a good spot for it. So it might be further away where we cross, so you have line of sight.
Yeah, you have to, because
Yeah.
when they come up over that, even just
Yeah.
turning into the dog park,
Yeah.
they come barreling up that hill.
They do.
So it's just there's a lot of new drivers, from the high school.
I know.
And
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just
Oh,
saying
no, it's true.
It's okay.
It's just a problem. And I feel like the old lady that's out in the corner going, slow down, but it's just a problem.
And not that long ago, it was a gravel road out there.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how
Exactly.
things have changed.
Yeah.
here in
It's
our-
changed.
I get calls for more roundabouts
Yeah.
when I think more roundabouts.
You think more round?
More roundabouts right along that whole street.
Improve safety.
I like them.
Not even joking, really. I think that's a great
Could you
idea.
put one at the corner of Juniper and Penn? One right? No.
Guys, I need
Guy
to
only gets
retire.
involved
I maintain the
That streets,
landscaping, that's about how far it
that
goes.
streets department will pass it along.
He
streets.
gets involved with the
Yeah.
landscape.
Yeah, we got the landscape.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did the lights, the colored lights in the
Oh,
roundabouts. I had not noticed them in my new
Yeah.
neighborhood, and everybody's saying, "Oh,
Pretty.
oh, we love those lights in the roundabout."
we can't, the Parks Department cannot take credit for that. The streets department.
The
put those
streets
out.
did that.
Okay, streets.
Oh well.
But they
then
hung them
I
on your
lied to somebody 'cause
trees
I said
and your
that.
plants that
That
were
is
there.
true. We'll take credit for the hanging part of
But the
it.
trees, which you
The
got through the
trees.
grant, which you continue to
Take-
win over and
Take
over.
credit. Okay, our next meeting is going to roll around be on the first day of February, and first day of February on a leap year this year. We'll get our meeting out of the way on the 1st at 7:00. So nothing else to come before us. Do I hear a motion?
I motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second for adjournment. Any objection to adjourning? Meeting adjourned.